You appear no different from others, perhaps even calmer, more composed, and less prone to emotional outbursts than most. In the words of your friends, you're often labeled mature, level-headed, and rational. They see you as opinionated yet measured, never impulsive, and never a cause for worry. You always remember others' preferences, schedules, and moods. You know precisely when to stay silent, when to say it's okay, and when to act indifferent, even when you are anything but. You can face harsh questioning in a meeting without flinching, and yield in an argument without arguing, shouting, or walking away. You habitually digest all your unease and anger, stuffing them into some inner corner, then continue being the reassuring person everyone relies on. When others ask if you have any thoughts, you reply whatever works, even though you once had things you wanted to insist on. When they ask how you've been, you say pretty good, even though you haven't truly laughed in relaxation for a month. You do not suppress these feelings deliberately. You simply learn too early that vulnerability is unwelcome, authenticity is misunderstood, and expression is risky. Thus, you filter emotions in advance, placing safety before any utterance and treating "don't cause trouble" as your core principle. Behind this rationality lies a constant tension. You are always ensuring you won't be superfluous, won't be the one rejected. You respond instantly to others' joys and sorrows, yet you can scarcely recall the last time someone asked, "Are you really happy?" Walking down the street, sitting in your car, or soaking in a hot bath, you often slip into sudden blankness. Not escaping the world, but unsure what posture to adopt to remain in it. In moments when you most need comfort, you instinctively withdraw inward, mouthing "I'm fine" or "I can handle it." When feeling wronged, your first impulse is, "Did I do something wrong?" You hesitate to burden others because you were never permitted to do so. In relationships, you let others choose first, having long learned that not competing is the easiest path. What you fail to realize is that all this sensibility, consideration, and reason may stem from a period that forced you to mature rapidly. You were not born this way. You were taught that being your true self is unlovable. Your calm does not mean you lack emotions. It means you have grown too accustomed to hiding them. Perhaps you are surviving in an adult way, but you have never truly lived while being understood. None of this is your fault. It is the deep influence from long ago that you mistook for my personality. You behave impeccably in most situations, so impeccably that no one can find fault, and so impeccably that you nearly erase yourself. You habitually listen actively in conversations, focusing on the other's feelings and rarely mentioning your own needs. When interrupted, you instinctively fall silent and offer an understanding smile. When others ignore messages, arrive late, or act distant, your first reaction is not anger, but self-reflection. Am I too clingy or oversensitive? You rarely dare to disturb others, even when you desperately want to reach out, check in, or invite them to dinner. Before voicing any dissatisfaction, you weigh it 10 times to avoid upsetting them, often choosing silence in the end. You frequently offer help, apologize proactively, and sensibly withdraw, even when no one demands it. You seem highly cooperative, easy to get along with, rarely emotional, and adept at caring for others. Yet these are survival strategies honed over years. You fear displeasing others, being misunderstood, or causing disappointment. So you almost never say no, even when you strongly resist. You often take on tasks beyond your capacity, believing refusal would seem inhuman or immature. In relationships, you always play the role of understanding, comforting, and catching others. You routinely mask exhaustion with smiles, sorrow with silence, and reject closeness with "I'm fine." Under pressure, you do not lash out. You grow quieter, calmer, more detached, like a self-shielding lighthouse that bears the load silently without seeking rescue. You barely know what willfulness feels like, having learned early that willful people are unlovable, troublemakers, and excluded. You compress emotions into acceptable forms, package needs as no big deal, then face every consequence alone. You know how to be likable, but not how to be truly loved. Your greatest skill is sensibility. Your air-reading ability is superb, allowing you to detect in a group who is upset, awkward, or in need of care. Yet you rarely ask yourself, what about me? You wrap your true self in layers of reason, obedience, and logic, until even you cannot see the soft, sensitive, yearning core. You thought this was the price of growth, but it was your early way of becoming invisible. You live like someone forever accommodating others, a trouble-free existence, a projected ideal of expectations. But in the dead of night, you sometimes wonder, is this really okay for me? You show no complaints, no ripples, but you know it is not because you lack emotions. You were simply never allowed to express them. Your behavior stems not from innate introversion or timidity, but from learning early to suppress and adjust to fit your environment. Facing emotionally volatile, self-focused parents, as a child, you had one option: ensure their satisfaction. You knew dissatisfaction could bring indifference, blame, humiliation, or total neglect. Your young mind could not grasp complex family dynamics, so you instinctively thought, did I do something wrong? Thus, you began tweaking every word, gesture, reaction, and expression to avoid sudden anger or coldness. You discovered obedience brought brief praise. Sensibility earned scant attention, while expressing emotions often drew your too sensitive. Don't be dramatic, or how dare you talk back? You gradually transformed fear into compliance, anger into silence, disappointment into effort. You were not lying. You were hiding parts that might lead to abandonment. You became the unburdensome person, the low-maintenance one, the quiet child. These excellent traits were defense mechanisms for survival. In psychology, this is termed avoidant attachment or compliant personality. Automatic responses developed in an unsafe environment. You do not lack expression. You were trained to sense now is not the time, even if that time stretches for years. You do not avoid dependence. You distrust its safety because those you depended on turned away or treated your needs as burdens when you needed them most. You do not forego pursuit. You know voicing demands goes unanswered or invites punishment and shame. These mechanisms protected you for years, providing order in chaos and survival without love. Yet they also leave you cautious in adulthood, across friendships, intimacy, and work, unable to relax or truly connect. You are not cold. You simply have not expressed tenderness safely for too long. You are not difficult. You fear being labeled too much, too weak, or too troublesome again. You are not hard to approach. You simply doubt your real self can be seen, understood, and held. These reactions are not flaws or your fault. They were your smartest, most resilient choices then. They are not defects, but evidence of your past efforts to protect yourself. Now you are beginning to see it all clearly. This is not blame or judgment, but gentle understanding. Understanding is the start of removing the armor. You may not recall the exact day you became so careful, but you remember the moments that silenced you. Perhaps when you mustered courage to voice dissatisfaction, a parent dismissed it with "you're too sensitive," making your feelings seem worthless. Or when you cried and were told, "Stop crying, it's useless." So you learned to hold back tears until you no longer shed them in front of others. Maybe at a family gathering, You excitedly shared an idea, only to be interrupted by your father, eyed by your mother, leaving the room silent. And you never spoke up again. You recall your birthday, awaiting a blessing with hope. But hearing "don't be so full of yourself," so you stopped celebrating or expecting. You once sought dependence, but closeness met impatience, so you stopped relying. You tried authenticity, but it brought mockery, denial, or cold shoulders. You were not born quiet. You were wounded by expression countless times until you chose silence. You do not lack need for care. You were pushed away too often when needing it, so you learned to manage alone. You were not never willful. One instance earned a difficult label, and you dared not again. You did not lack desire to be seen. You saw parents praise others and critique you, so you learned to exit. These memories may lack shouting or violence. They seem like normal discipline, all for your own good. But their effect was clear. You ceased appearing authentically. You learned early to tuck yourself away, not by choice but necessity. You did not grow up gradually. You were forced into rapid maturity. You were never truly allowed to express, collapse, need, or act spoiled. These emotional spaces were compressed or stripped in your upbringing. You thought you forgot these experiences, but they linger submerged, shaping your current avoid trouble and stay steady lifestyle. This adaptation was a silent pact you made long ago. No more crying, always sensible, never worry others. You honored this pact for years, forgetting you have the right to break it. Over time, these protective strategies became your self-definition. You truly believed, "I shouldn't be too sensitive. My demands make me disliked. I must prioritize others. If I do everything right, I won't be blamed." You embedded these as self-rules, executing them effortlessly in every detail. You demand perfection from yourself, but endless tolerance from others. You dare not burden anyone yet are first to catch their breakdowns. You interlerate your own weakness, but infinitely embrace others' vulnerability. In every relationship, you are alert, restrained, and adept at adjusting to the vibe, to the point of forgetting your own desires. You live like someone, perpetually putting themselves in others' shoes, earning only daily exhaustion. You dare not be too happy, lest it invite envy. Too sad, lest it seem weak. Too stand out, lest pulled down. Too free, lest called immature. You dance always on the edge of others' comfort, never owning your stage. In teams, you are the reliable one. In family, the non-disruptive one. Among friends, the willing listener. You excel in every role except yourself. You rarely feel true relaxation, forever monitoring others, suppressing emotions, maintaining connections. You have emotions. You simply fear expression will drive others away. You have considered change, but think I've been like this for years. Don't trouble anyone. You even feel uneasy with being loved, accustomed only to being needed. You crave true closeness, yet fear the exposed self it reveals. You package yourself in calm, mature, strong so well that no one truly enters. You self-regulate expertly, because no one ever regulated for you. You forgot that before caring for others, you were a child needing care. You disappoint others gently, but yourself harshly. You question yourself in the quiet night, yet play fine by day. You sometimes want to cry, act spoiled, be willful, but these feelings are so long unpracticed, you doubt your right to them. You dare not demand happiness, only secretly envy others' ease. You do not avoid closeness. You know the pain of post-closeness rejection too well. You do not lack a free self. You wonder if it still exists, is worth it, or would be liked. This is your current state. You think you're good enough yet feel lonely. You do enough yet often empty. You earn worldly approval, yet no one truly understands you. You think you've adapted to this life, but occasionally at night you ask, must I only live this way? One day, you pause and gently ask, is my lifelong sensibility truly from the heart? You notice that what you called rationality was years of defense. Looking back, you see the child desperately pleasing parents. He did not lack expression, but a safe space for it. You finally understand your suppressed emotions are not fragility, but unaccompanied facing for too long. You do not lack need for love. You learned not to expect it to avoid disappointment. You do not avoid anger. You were taught early good children don't get mad. You begin reinterpreting your past self, not cowardice, but protection. Not indifference, but self-defense. Not desireless, but long endured. You are not evading life, but carving survival space, in the gentlest way. Your past choices mark not failure, but a child's full effort to survive. You finally admit you've always tried hard, but those efforts were never properly acknowledged or loved. Your past silence was not voicelessness, but a world that could not hear. Your past compliance was not idealess, but knowledge that expression brought negation. You gently tell yourself it was never your fault. You were just a child, bearing adult-level emotional complexity and projected responsibility. You hid in fear of loss. Now you courageously crack the door. You slowly voice, I'm tired too, or I don't always want to understand others. These words choke at first, but you are learning. You practice imperfect existence, not always yielding first, shifting focus from others' expectations to your breath. You begin believing, perhaps I deserve good treatment without exchange or proof. You finally admit grievances you once denied, no longer excusing parents or your emotions. You are not weakening. You are lowering the armor. This is gentle awakening, without blame, using understanding to illuminate suppressed corners. You slowly realize true freedom is not attack-proof, but persisting authentically, even if misunderstood. You finally stop saying, I'm fine, because true fine is openly saying, I need you. Healing is not dramatic revolution, but gradual loosening and release. You need not become resolute overnight or suddenly voice all secrets. You only need, in some ordinary moment, more understanding for yourself. When guilt follows, rejecting an unreasonable request, softly say, I am not selfish. I am leaving space for me. When exhausted on the sofa, recalling your past self never allowed slack, hug the you who has endured years. When bravely expressing emotion meets misunderstanding and embarrassment, do not retreat to silence. That is growth's pain, not failure. You are learning a new language expression, needs, boundaries, authenticity, never taught, so allow slowness. You need not be perfect to deserve love or suppress to be strong. You can be unhappy, uncooperative, care for no one but yourself. You survived in silence. Now live in authenticity. You once hid. Now return to your body. Breathe, stretch, ground, exist truly. You need no good performance for presence. Your existence carries weight. You improve not for acceptance, but because you are already enough, so accept yourself. You understand happiness sometimes is not having all but no longer pleasing anyone. Freedom sometimes is not escaping bonds, but facing pain without hiding. You are not becoming new. You are reclaiming the self always in your body. The child scolded for crying, the teen ignored for I don't like, the you who yielded and retreated. He has waited for your return, for you to say, I am here. Now I protect you. You need not conquer the past, only understand it. You need not grow stronger, only allow softness. You need not know all our answers, only dare face real questions. You need prove nothing. Your experiences prove all. One day, you will realize true change is not bolder, but ceasing to blame the you who fought to survive. One day, before the mirror, you will softly say, "Thank you for holding on until now." Healing is not becoming another you. It is remembering who you were before the hurt.